YouTube is the hardest thing that I have ever tried to be successful at. But every day when I open up the app, video after video pops up claiming that YouTube is now on easy mode and it is easier than ever to grow and build your channel. But I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. That is simply not true. Now, there are some people that can go out there, create a channel, and have instant success overnight. But for the vast majority of us, that is simply not the case. There are approximately 38 million active YouTube channels right now, but only 6% of them are in the YouTube Partner Program and have reached monetization. So if that doesn't tell you how difficult it is to actually be successful on this app, then I don't know what to tell you. And after posting videos on this app for a little over a year, I can tell you it takes a lot of hard work in order to be successful on this platform. And the very first thing that comes to mind when it comes to having some success on YouTube is your on-camera presence. And I can tell you that is probably one of the hardest things that I had to deal with when I started making content. Because if you're anything like me, I never really spent much time actually talking to a camera. And it's one of the hardest things to do because you record yourself speaking and you go back and you watch it. And number one, it's awkward as hell, right? And secondly, it doesn't really sound like you. I made a video about how I lost my YouTube voice and how I'm really just trying to actually be the true me every time that I show up on camera. But for me, that was one of the hardest things that I had to change in order to continue to improve. And the only way that you can improve your on-camera presence is actually create videos. And that leads me to point number 2, which is consistency. When I first started my channel, I would come up with excuses of why it wasn't the right time to film. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't have the right equipment, you name it. I use it as an excuse, as a reason to not create content. And in the very first year that I had my channel, I made less than 25 videos. I wasn't getting any views. I wasn't getting any subscribers, and I started to get discouraged. And it wasn't because I couldn't put the time or the effort into actually creating content. I was too busy on making excuses of why not to create content. Now, the next thing that I needed to learn in order to actually start to improve my channel was being able to dial in my audio. Now, I went back and I watched some of my original videos that I created back in 2023, and not only were they bad, like really bad, the audio was even worse. Now, I started filming with a camera, but I didn't have a microphone. And I didn't understand how important audio quality was. So when I go back and I watch those videos, not only am I looking at how I've improved from an on-camera presence perspective, I really started to understand that early out the gate, my videos were bad because of my on-camera performance, but it was bad because my audio was really bad. And that's not something that you normally think about when you go to some of the other apps like TikTok or Instagram, where people are just uploading 20 or 30-second reels. It's not as important as being in this space. And the next thing that you have to make sure that's dialed in is the lighting. Again, it was just as bad as my audio was when I first started making videos. I didn't realize how important lighting and audio were. And to be honest with you, I think those are probably more important, especially in the beginning, than your on-camera presence. I mean, how many times have you clicked on a video, the lighting was terrible or the audio was terrible, so you didn't even give it a chance? So I think that we will sometimes sacrifice watching a video if the person isn't as well polished on camera, but their lighting and their audio is what makes us click off. At least for me, that's what happens. And the next thing that was important that I had to learn in order to actually start seeing some growth on this platform was learning the functionality of a camera. Now, the camera that I purchased early on in the process was a Sony ZV-E10, and I had no idea on how to operate this camera. And if you watch some of my earlier content, you'll see that some of the video quality reflected that. So that was something that I really had to put in some time and some effort and some energy to learn about how ISO works, how white balance works, and how to dial those in for the environment that you're shooting in. Those are really important things that you don't think about on some of those other platforms that are out there, because they don't require you to be as precise with things off camera. And those are some of the things off camera that are really important to be successful on this app. And the next thing which I would put up there with on-camera presence and consistency, is thumbnails. And this is something that I continue to try to improve on with every upload, right? So my thumbnails have went from terrible to probably a little below average right now. And that's something that I'm going to continue to work on. So for all of 2025, I'm going to try to up my thumbnail game. I'm going to put in a lot more time actually trying to get a solid brand in place, a thumbnail that I can kind of just repeat and reuse. So for 2025, the biggest thing that I'm going to be working on in order to improve my channel is actually spending a lot more time on my thumbnail game, because that's what's going to actually draw people in. Because I'll have some of my videos will have really good retention time. They'll have a decent amount of views and they'll have a really good number of impressions. I mean, I've had videos that have over 100,000 impressions, but the views are lower. And I know that that's because my thumbnails were not appealing enough. So that's one of the biggest things that you have to make sure that you have dialed in on this platform is thumbnails. It's all about the packaging. If the packaging does not entice people to click on your videos, it doesn't matter how good your videos are. Nobody's going to watch it because they're not going to click on it. And the next thing is showing up and recording even when you don't feel like it. And this kind of goes with the consistency piece that I talked about a little bit earlier, but actually showing up and having energy whenever it's time to actually record is extremely important. And again, this was something that I really didn't think about, right? I didn't really think about this because a lot of the videos that I would watch about how to be successful on YouTube, a lot of people never talked about the energy and actually having energy and showing up. They talked about consistency, but never really focused much on energy. So that was another thing, right? That I really didn't understand early in the process, and you may not either, is that whenever you get in front of the camera, you have to have some enthusiasm and you have to be present and ready to go. Because I think if you're sitting home and you're watching a video and the person either has low emotion and they don't have energy, it really takes away from the video. And I don't know about you, but if someone gets on and they're just really monotone, no energy, I'm going to click away from that video. I just am. And this was important for me, right? Not every video that you post is going to have a bunch of views. I mean, I have videos that have over 5,000 views and I have videos that have under 25 views. And that's just how it goes, right? Not every video is going to be something that somebody wants to watch, and that's okay. Each one of those videos that I pump out, those are reps, right? It's like somebody's shooting foul shots. I'm taking reps. And once my channel takes off, I'll know that those reps that I was taking when no one was watching is one of the reasons why I was able to be successful. And lastly, and this is extremely important as well, you will get negative comments on your content, and that's okay. The vast majority of the people that leave comments on your channel are going to be helpful and supportive. But every now and then you will have comments of someone that has something negative to say. It's just the nature of being on a platform and opening yourself up to thousands of people out there to critique everything that you say and everything that you do. And just because a comment is negative doesn't mean that you can't take that criticism and improve. Was the negative comment true? Is it something that you could work on? Is it something that you can do better? Right? So you have to take all of the comments that you get, the good and the bad, use it to improve yourself and continue to grow, because that's the name of the game. And have a little bit of faith in the process and don't quit. So when they say that YouTube is now on easy mode and it's easy to grow your channel, it's just simply not true. You have to put in the work, because anything that's worth having doesn't come easy.